Hello there and welcome to Rajiv Gandhi IAS Academy. This is me Nawaish Nehal and today I'll be covering daily current affairs for 17th February. So moving on with the first news. The first news is about tribunal and the CS Supreme Court on Wednesday said that its judicial invention saw the government make abrupt effort to fill vacancies in tribunal sometimes and nothing have been done after that. Just after filling up the vacancy, government is just filling up the vacancy in tribunal and nothing is being done after that. And bureaucracy, Supreme Court had said in an oral judgment that it is taking it lightly. And this was a bench led by Chief Justice NV Ramanna. And in September last, a special bench led by CGI, Chief Justice of India, accused the center of cherry picking names for appointment to tribunals. And it said that it left almost defunct by long pending vacancy. And Chief Justice Ramanna had termed the state of tribunal and the thousands of litigants awaiting for this pitiable. So this was the term, this was the strong harsh word being used by Chief Justice of India regarding the appointment in tribunals. So the bench had addressed the Attorney General about how the government is not using the search cum selection committee, which was headed by sitting Supreme Court judges, which were tasked for interviewing and shortlisting suitable candidates for the tribunals. So what was previously happening that for making a tribunal head or making an appointment in tribunal, consultation from Supreme Court judges were being taken, but now that practice is gone away and government is directly appointing people at tribunal. So bench has said that this is pitiable, and to the attorney general the bench has said that this is not the case which should be followed, and cherry picking should not be done. So this is the thing. And moving on with this news only, so we have to know what is tribunal. So tribunal is basically a quasi judicial institution. What do you mean by quasi judicial? It is a judicial body which is comprised of other bodies also, and it is set up to deal with problems such as resolving administration or tax related dispute. And it performs a number of functions like adjudicating dispute, determining rights between different parties, and making an administrative decision or reviewing an existing administrative decision, and different kind of things. And the term tribunal is derived from the word tribune, which basically means magistrate of classical Roman Republic. Okay, so it is basically a translation of the word magistrate. Okay, so tribunes is basically translation of what, and from tribune the word tribunal came. And tribunal is referred to as the officer of tribunes, that is a Roman official under the monarchy. So this was a Roman practice, and a tribunal is generally a person basically or institution having an authority to judge, adjudicate, or to determine claims of dispute. So after having this basic what is tribunal is about, we have to know what is the need of the tribunal. So first need is to overcome situation that arose basically due to the pendency of cases in various courts, and domestic tribunals and other tribunals have been established for this cause only. And different statutes have been given to them, and they are generally referred as tribunals for basic work purpose. And the tribunals were set up to reduce the workload. So first one is overcome the situation that arose due to different kind of litigation. And the second work which tribunal was being appointed to, or the need of the tribunal, was to reduce the workload. So the tribunals were set up to reduce the workload of courts, to expedite decision, and to provide a forum which basically could be manned by lawyers and experts in the areas falling under the jurisdiction. And the tribunal perform also like an important and specialized role in justice mechanism. So it helps in maintaining justice also. So justice mechanism can also be a part why this tribunal was needed. And they take a load of the already overburdened courts, and they hear disputes related to environment, armed forces. We have heard about things like NGT, National Green Tribunal, Armed Force Tribunal. Similarly, different tribunals are there. Suppose a case is there regarding environment, so NGT can hear it directly or make it that the overburdened court have less burden. So this is basically the need of the tribunals. And moving on, what are the different constitutional provision regarding tribunals? So tribunals were not a part of the original constitution, and we all know the mini constitution we all know as 42nd amendment 1976. So in that, tribunals were added in the constitution, and basically article 323A deals with administrative tribunals. So administrative tribunals, and what do you mean by administrative tribunals? These are those tribunals which work on the administrative part of the government. And then there is article 323B, that is other matters of kind of tribunal. Okay, so these are basically two kinds of tribunal working on these two, article 323A and 323B. And under article 323B, the parliament and the state legislature are authorized for like provide for the establishment of tribunals for the adjudication of disputes in matters like taxation. So this is basically the work field of 220 223B. So taxation, foreign exchange, industries and labor law, industries and labor, property, urban property, basically property, urban property, and election of parliament and state legislator. So state legislator and just state legislator, food stuff, FMCG, basically, which we know, FMCG in bracket I can write this, FMCG, food stuff, and rent and tenancy rights. So rent and these are the things basically which are covered under article 323A and B, sorry. And article 323A contemplates the basically the establishment of tribunal for public service matters only, and the 323B for these kind of matters. Don't worry, we will be providing the PDF of this uh, on our Telegram channel also, and these things will be there in a detailed manner also. And also, when we are dealing with tribunals, there is this article 262 which is also very significant when it comes to tribunals, because this article of the Indian constitution provide a role for the central government basically in adjudicating conflicts surrounding interstate rivers that arise. So all the like water tribunals which are there, where interstate water tribunals are there, for example Gandak tribunals or Kaveri tribunal. So those tribunals are basically based on article 262, that is interstate river tribunals. For that a separate article is there. Okay, so basically three articles are concerned with tribunals: 323A, B, and Article 262. And tribunal was not a part of original constitution. So in 42nd amendment, this became part. So these kind of things became important when it comes to prelims, obviously. So moving on to the next news. This news is about the crimson rose butterfly, and this is about the beach of Dhanushkoti, which is the southernmost tip of Rameshwaram. We all know Rameshwaram, where it is. So suppose this is India, so there is a little like this when it comes to Tamil Nadu part. There is like this. So here Rameshwaram is here. So and there in Rameshwaram, Dhanush Koti is there. So this is about Dhanush Koti, which is at the southernmost tip of Rameshwaram Island in Indian Peninsula, and it has witnessed a rare phenomena over the past few days, and thousands of crimson butterflies basically swarmed all available, and flowering plant. They were taking the flowering plant which were around the beach, sorry. And crimson rose is basically a large butterfly with a mix of black and white. See, this is basically a crimson rose, and it has a mix of black, white, and crimson colors on its wing and body. And it is known for like crossing the sea to migrate to Sri Lanka. So basically, it crossed Indian Ocean and it migrate to Sri Lanka. So what is this strait over here? Do tell us in our Telegram channel or to in the comment section which state is there. So basically it crosses over Rameshwaram to Sri Lanka, and experts there says that the recent migration from Dhanushkoti is a very significant kind of migration. And they basically do a pit stop at Rameshwaram Dhanushkoti, and the grandest gathering was on a Calitoporis, Calotropis gigantea plant. This is a kind of plant which is around those coast, and all these crimson rose butterfly came to that plant for their food. And this guide gathering underscored the importance of native beach vegetation in the journey of the butterfly. And it also remarks that how we have to protect the beach in a pristine form, so that this kind of plant are not disturbed. Hence the migratory routes of these butterfly are also not disturbed. So this was basically in the news. So we have to know a little about crimson rose. Although previously there was this habit of UPSC for asking IUCN status and endangered or like or whatever the thing that is. So from last 2 or 3 years we are seeing that those kind of questions are not been asked. So not dealing into those, you can basically Google upon those things. And the crimson rose is basically a large swallowtail butterfly belonging to genus Pachyopata. Pachyopta. Okay, that is basically roses we in other terms. So it is generally common and not known to be treated, and it is along the western, kind of found along Western Ghat and up to Maharashtra, and some of them are also there in Gujarat. This is the basic habitat of this crimson rose. And these are protected by different laws. So those kind of things are not that much important, but we have to just the pattern in which these crimson rose are found in India, or why they cross means why they stopped at Rameshwaram. These kind of things became important nowadays. So moving on to the next news. So the next news about solar waste. And this was said by IRENA, that is International Renewable Energy Agency. IRENA, that is here, IRENA, International Renewable Energy Agency. Okay, so that is EN. And energy, that is the thing. So it estimated that the global photovoltaics waste will touch about 78 million tons by 2050. Okay, by 2050. And with India accepted to be one of the top of the five generators of each of these kind of waste. So India currently considers solar waste as a part of e-waste, and not a separate waste. But a committee had been constituted under the chairmanship of Ministry of Science and Technology and Secretary, Ministry of, sorry, New and Renewable Energy, that is MNRE, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. A committee has been set up, which is like moving on to circular economy, which is seeing that whether this could be put into a separate column or not. So we all know the power of India solar energy. So India has set a target of producing 100 gigawatts of solar energy by 2022, and 1 gigawatt is equal to 100 megawatts. So 100 gigawatts of energy by 2022, and by solar photovoltaic cell. And the cumulative capacity of the grid connected is like about 40 gigawatts, and the current capacity is 35.6 gigawatt is generated from ground mounted plant, and 4.4 from rooftop solar. So this is the basic thing about India solar capacity. And coming on to the solar waste problem in India. So solar waste is the electronic waste, as I have said earlier. It is a part of e-waste. And solar waste is generally sold as scrap in our country. And it is in service that solar waste can increase by at least 4 to 5 fold by next decade. So 4 to 5 times in next 10 years it can increase. And the value of recoverable materials might surpass about $15 billion by 2050. So this is also the scrapping business of solar waste is also a huge business. And this much amount would be enough to power 630 gigawatts with 2 billion solar power. So this much, or if we evaluate those in terms of energy. and globally it is expected that end of life, that is EOL of a solar end of life of solar panel will drive the solar panel recycling business in next 10 to 20 years, because they have like a recycling year of 20 to 25 years. So what are the different issue of solar waste in India? So solar panels have basically a lifespan of 20 to 25 years, and so the problem of solar waste will trouble in a few years, because we have been practicing this from many years. It is however likely that India will face the issue of solar waste problem by end of this decade, like to 2030, and solar waste might become the most prevalent form of waste in landfills area. And as of now, India does not have a sound solar waste management policy. So solar waste management policy is not there. Solar waste management policy is not there, and the issue of solar waste was not addressed in electronic waste, in the management regulation of 2016 management regulation. It was the last management regulation which was done, so it was not acted as a separate column. So now plan are there to introduce this. And also, the one of the basic issue which we are facing when it comes to solar waste is the cost of recycling. So how we are facing it? See, while recycling a solar panel, it costs between $20 to $30, means to have it used completely, and sending it to landfills will cost just about $1 to $2. So recycling is a heavy business, and just dumping it down is still like low business. So still we need less money to dump it down rather than to recycle it. So this is also a problem, that how we can monetize this situation. So this is the thing, and there are many international efforts to deal with the solar waste. So the first is from European Union, EU, and the Waste Electric and Electronic Equipment Directive, that is WEEE, of directives of EU, basically imposes responsibility for the disposal of solar waste on manufacturer or distributor. So this should be done by manufacturer or distributors, that they should only be concerned about the solar waste and not general public. And though there are no federal policy in US to deal with solar waste, but some states like Washington and California have set up one facility, that is EPR, that is extended producer responsibility regulation, to which the responsibility of wasting those solar waste is on the user. And Australia recently announced about 2 million grant for solar waste. Okay, this was done by Australia as a part of National Product Stewardship Investment Fund, that is NPSIF. Okay, National Product Stewardship Investment Fund. This was done to develop an industry led product system for the photovoltaic system, and countries such as Japan and South Korea have already indicated their resolve uh, for this eradication of solar waste. So this is basic the technologies or the different kind of efforts being made in other countries. And similarly, there is this roadmap which we should, or we roadmap, or we can say way forward, which we should be adopting. So first is a strong e-waste or renewable energy waste laws should be made. So laws should be made, and EPR should be extended. EPR, as I have discussed earlier, is extended producer responsibility. Extended producer responsibility should be extended to the manufacturer and developer to take responsibility, as in the case of what I have discussed, as in the case of European Union. So this could be done. Infrastructure should be built so that this kind of things could be dumped easily or recycled easily. So infrastructure should be built, and environmental disposal and recycling of solar waste could be part of our power purchase. So monetization of this thing, monetization of recycling process is one of the mm, key thing by which we can move ahead. And there is this also ban on landfills. Means solar panel waste is harmful for the environment, as we all know, because of the chemicals used, and as it contains toxic metal and minerals that may slip in the ground. Hence landfills through solar panels should be completely banned. So ban on landfills through solar panels should be there. Okay. And we have to come up with new business models which kind of incentivize issue of green certificate, like to be provided by the for the encouragement of recycling. So new business model, okay, based on recycling method. And definitely this R&D, that is research and development, should be done more and more so that we can reduce the solar waste. So these are the things basically which is there with the solar waste. Moving on with the next news.